this video is going to totally be TMI, too much information. Oh well. Disclaimer, I am not a clinician, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a doctor. This is not me telling you to take a medication. This is just me simply stating what's been helpful for me on my mental health journey, and stating that—
Hi folks, so for some reason some of these clips the audio does not match my face. Please bear with me. I promise I will figure this out next time.
For those who don't know, I was diagnosed with PTSD back in April of 2022. That seemed to be the diagnosis that made the most sense, considering events that had occurred like long-term and also short-term. I had a lot of different symptoms going on, but that really encapsulated most of them. So I completed a 12-week intensive outpatient therapy program for PTSD, and I also got put on 10 milligrams of Lexapro, which means now that it's September, I've been on Lexapro for about 5 to 6 months. So I thought that it would be an appropriate time to kind of go over like my overall experience. And overall, it's been incredibly positive. These are in no particular order, but I would say that this one has been the biggest positive change that I've experienced, and that is, first of all, motivation. I find it so much easier to start tasks again. Like I have the thought of like, oh, like I should go do my laundry before it gets hotter today, and I just like do it without thinking about it, which sounds really silly, but it's been like a very welcome change because I was really struggling with starting tasks in particular. The next thing I would say is the motivation to socialize. That's become a lot easier because I used to, and that's kind of like, these symptoms all kind of flow together. But I was thinking of every like worst possible scenario when it came to things like socializing. Like, oh my gosh, what if I go drive there and my car makes some weird noise because I'm putting like extra miles on my car, or like what if something bad happens to me? Of course, you know, there's been a lot of things like gun violence in the news, so that did not help. So yeah, motivation to socialize, and then I would also say motivation for self-care. I've never been a particularly like, I don't know, like girly, like feminine person when it comes to like how I present myself physically. I've always liked makeup and stuff, but I was never like, you know, I didn't know how to do things. I don't know how to French braid, you know, those sorts of things. But lately, like, so I started like, you know, these are press-on nails, but it's such a big deal for me to like be able to do something like that for myself. So I started like doing nails and doing my hair in the morning. So that has been a big welcome difference. It also kind of makes me feel like more of my age and more of an adult, which I guess is a different story. Or I guess it kind of bleeds into the like second biggest change I've noticed. I said these were in no particular order, but I guess I was wrong. Anyway, I would say the next thing is anxiety. So especially like my anxiety and fear of the unknown, and kind of like I shared about like socializing, like constantly going to like the worst case scenario and making up these things in my head. That's definitely a lot less now. How I'm perceived too. So I've been more motivated to engage in self-care, but I've been more motivated to do that from a place of like really understanding what feels good rather than focusing on how I'm perceived by other people, if that makes sense. So I stopped wearing less makeup, but started doing like what actually makes me feel good and put together. So it wasn't like, oh my god, like I don't want someone to think that I'm tired or think I look like I'm sick or judge my skin or whatever. So that's been wonderful. And then I'd also say, like, ruminating is a big problem for me, and it's not that I don't still do it, but the physical symptoms that I feel in response to ruminating is a lot less intense. So it would be to the point where, like, my stomach would hurt, I couldn't eat, I'd have just like a headache, I felt exhausted all the time, and like I couldn't switch the thoughts off. Sorry if you hear my air conditioning. But now, like, it's easier to distract myself, and like I before going into treatment for my PTSD, I timed like how long it would take for me to relax after like a triggering event, and it was about 6.5 hours. And now, like, within a matter of minutes, I'll find like, oh, I haven't even thought about that in an hour. So that's been huge. And I think that also plays a role into the next thing, which is sleep. Sleep, or better sleep now, has been extremely welcome. I wouldn't call myself like an insomniac, but it was getting pretty bad where I couldn't relax, or I would keep ruminating. I would have nightmares, so I wouldn't feel rested, or I would have nightmares, so I was constantly waking up in the middle of the night, being a light sleeper, etc., etc., etc. And then, it's like, what came first, the chicken or the egg, right? Was my bad sleep impacting my mental health, or was my mental health impacting my sleep? Who knows? I know that's kind of like why, even though I started treatment, I think like a month and a half before I got on Lexapro, they were kind of trying to see if like therapy and practicing like better thought patterns and stuff would impact my sleep, and it did, but it also didn't. So I can definitely say now with confidence that the Lexapro has helped my sleep. I will say that my sleep isn't perfect, and in those cases, like if I have something very important the next day, or if I have to get up early, that's something that would cause me a lot of anxiety too. Is like, oh my gosh, what if my alarm didn't go off? What if I didn't set my alarm right? What if something happens? What if, just what if, especially about having to wake up early. So I do have a sleeping medication, which is hydroxyzine, so it's like similar to Benadryl. So that has made a big difference too in my sleep, and it's helped my confidence too, to know like I have something that will help me sleep. And it's not addictive, there's not really any side effects to it except for feeling super dry, hence why I'm like very nasally, oh my god. Yeah, so sleep has also gotten a lot better. The fourth thing that I've noticed is time blindness. And I've heard people talking about that phrase more so related to things like ADHD. I've never been diagnosed with ADHD, but I've noticed that like I have time blindness, but my time blindness has gotten a lot better since being on Lexapro. So it used to be where, like, oh my gosh, I have to do something in 4 hours, so I just have to sit here and wait. I can't do anything before that. Otherwise, I'm gonna get distracted or something's gonna happen. All the what ifs, all the rumination, etc., etc. But I've noticed that my time blindness isn't as bad lately. So it's easier for me to get more done, which kind of flows into the less anxiety and more motivation type thing. So I don't know if anyone else has experienced that, like specifically that symptom of time blindness getting better. I should also say, I used to, like, when it came to tasks, I would greatly overestimate how long that task would take. Like, to drive to the store, I'm like, that takes 30 minutes. It's right around the corner, it probably takes less than 5. So I don't know why I have that in my mind. I don't know if it's coming from Southern California where there's so much traffic, maybe. Versus, living in NorCal now, but so my timeliness has gotten a lot better. And the fifth thing would be an overall sense of calm, which is what motivated me to make this video today. So it's a long weekend. It's Labor Day weekend. Today's Monday. I have today off of work, and not feeling this sense of dread of working tomorrow, and also not feeling this overwhelming sense of like, I need to do absolutely everything that I possibly can, otherwise I'm an unproductive waste of space, blah 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 blah. I've loved not feeling that way anymore. I just feel an overwhelming sense of calm, and I'll like find myself just randomly like sitting and smiling even if I'm not doing anything, because it feels so good to not be in my head and to feel more like I'm in my body. And I think that sense of safety, I think it's related to feeling a sense of safety from addressing my PTSD symptoms. And so of course the sense of calm is encapsulated in the other 4 things I mentioned too. But I should say too, like, I started going to the gym, and I think that's also helped me feel more within my body, safer, stronger, more connected, and able to like read myself. Even though I've always felt like I knew myself really well, I think I felt really disconnected from my body, and I didn't really realize that until reading the Body Keeps the Score. That really helped me realize some of the I guess you could call it deficits that I had. So yeah, this sense of calm and maintaining that sense of calm has been really great. I guess I should say too, Lexapro I think has made it easier for me to use coping skills like deep breathing. Deep breathing in the past used to make me hyperventilate or feel like I was gonna hyperventilate and have a panic attack. So I never understood using deep breathing, but now it actually helps. Yay! Now I get what everyone's talking about when they talk about deep breathing. And there was one more. What was it? I just with going to the gym, exercising used to make me again feel like just this sense of dread, like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be sweaty, I'm gonna feel gross, and I'm gonna break out, and just like I hadn't, and I guess it goes into the time blindness too. I'm thinking that it's gonna take this overwhelming amount of time, and I'm not gonna have time for anything else, and then I'm gonna feel sore, and I'm not gonna be able to do anything, and then nothing's gonna get done around the house, and it just going down the rabbit hole. But I don't feel that now. And again, that goes with the motivation, right? Is like, if I want to go to the gym, just go. If I want to exercise, just exercise. So that's been really, really welcome and wonderful. I know I've said that a million times, but I think that, yeah, there's no other way for me to word it. I just feel so grateful. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that this was helpful for you if you've maybe been like on the fence about like if medication would be helpful, or I know like when it comes to SSRIs, like the thought of side effects is really scary, and of course I don't take that lightly, but I hope that this might help you along your journey into making the best medical decision for yourself, along with your doctor, or psychologist, or or a psychiatrist, or whoever you're working with. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time. Bye.